Online Racing is sponsored by Elgato, who created this lovely Stream Deck. For more information about the Stream Deck, the link is in the description below.
Hello everybody, my name is Austin. I am joined by Ninja Rider aka Curtis. Curtis, how are you?
Doing okay, man. Got a bit of a race on our hands.
Yes, we do have a bit of a race on our hands. It is the Singapore night race here at the Marina Bay Street Circuit. Not really a driver's favorite, but it's always a fan favorite because it's not as hot for us because we're in this nice little booth here. And it's just very nice to have a night race.
You know, racing under the lights is one of those special things that really should never happen, but somehow, due to technology, it does. And the cars always love it, even though in Singapore it's always hot as heck.
Which makes sense why it's in the night race, because
exactly.
if this was a day race, they'd just be on fire halfway through.
Pretty much. I mean, you know, you'd have ambient temperatures of like 120 degrees, and it would just not be a good time. And even then, the cockpits of these cars getting into the 140 degrees, even at night. It's going to be brutal out there, but luckily this is simulation, so the drivers probably have a nice fan on them most of the time.
Yeah, the North America drivers in the winter, the South America drivers, they're in the heat, so they're at a disadvantage at the circuit, so more of a simulation for them. But it's at night for us, so all of us are under the lights, either at home, except for one of our drivers who is in Australia, and that is Triton. Triton's yeah, he's Australian, so he's waking up for this. Well, let's read you guys through the standings right now. Currently, Raven is standing on top of the championship with 294 points. He's leading 20-point gap to Some Idiot in second. Raven winning the last 4 Grand Prix, and Some Idiot finishing second in the last 4. Fluffy Dave back in third. Been very consistent top 3. And then, when it just gets all crazy, it's Triton and the Tritonites in fourth. Z3 Mikey had a wonderful race in Russia, takes fifth. Heineken is currently in sixth. Muddy Water moves up ahead of Max KZR Racing after Russia, and now Muddy Water is up in seventh with Max in eighth. Tezu is in ninth, and Creepy John's new driver to the series, along with Tezu and Ocampo, is in 10th. Ocampo is in 11th. Intergalactic Gentleman sits in 12th, followed by Kane Jr. and P13. Mancuso is in 14th, Not Ryan 15th, Jalumer is in 16th, Jolly Dunn is 17th, Pranky is in 18th, Italy Force is in 19th, who was disqualified from last race. And Lundqvist Bro finishes out the standings with no points.
I mean, really just comes down to, for those sort of, I don't know, maybe fifth on down, just have a good race, get some points, and you'll be moving up. It's really all it takes. And you mentioned the newcomers. They've basically just finished in the points in the 3 or 4 races that they have been in, and that's put them up into the top 10 hunt for sure. And it really just comes down to consistency. And speaking of consistency, that's what this track rewards. Gotta hit those lines, nail the apexes. See, because this is Apex Online Racing. Yeah. And you'll be fine. You'll be just fine.
Speaking of lines around this track, let's go on board with Ben as he takes us around a lap of the Marina Bay Street Circuit.
What is up, guys? My name is Ben, otherwise known as Teammate Marduk, and today you join me for an AOR Hype Energy F1 League hot lap around the Singapore Grand Prix. Today we're on board with Tino Nikarinen in the Williams F1 car, heading into turn 1, braking at the 100-meter board, turning in very early there to maximise just the track width around the Singapore Grand Prix. Very tight for space. You want to maximise as much of that as possible. Heading into turn number 5 there, as you see the curbing on the left, that's when you want to brake. Nice flowing exit now onto this very short back straight where opportunities to overtake are very limited. Braking now for the 150-meter board. Turn in, 4th gear, actually 3rd he takes it to get the nose in. Now braking for this 90-degree set of corners. 2nd gear, short shifting up to 3rd, then 4th, down shifting to 3rd. Using up all the track width to maximise that exit. Now heading to the old Singapore sling, which was sadly removed a few years ago. Much more flowing now. Swing the car in left before you swing right. Important to hit the curbing there right, otherwise the car can get spat out towards the wall, and that's not what you want. Through to the hairpin now. Nice rotation through there. Short shifting up through the gears now onto this back straight. Nice overtaking area in the race as we brake at the 100-meter board. Late apex. On the power nice and early. Don't extend too much to the left or that will be a disallowed lap. Braking now into the 3rd sector. Very technical part of the lap and where you can win or lose a lot of time. Now braking now for this stadium grandstand section. Again, really testing on the mechanical grip. All 2nd and 3rd gear corners through here. Nice exit. Try and kiss that curbing and also kiss the wall on the right hand side. Through to the final corner. And that is a lap of the Singapore Grand Prix. A very fast one indeed. Tino, you've absolutely nailed it.
Thank you, Ben, for that right here, as that is the wrong thing. Okay, we are not ready to go back, because we do have a few things. The reason why there was not much races today, because this is a makeup week. We got AOR has a break, not for the US guys. This was a scheduled break, and we're just making up this Singapore Grand Prix because us Americans like football. And apparently Triton's from the US. Thank you, Triton Knights. Ninja, anything you want to say before we go into qualifying?
You know, just keep it clean. It's going to be tough because you want to cut as many corners as you can, try to make this track as straight as possible, and it's going to be rough and tumble. I think there's going to be quite a few people in the wall, especially as people start to race.
All right, well, with those closing words, let's head into qualifying with 10 minutes left here at the Marina Bay Street Circuit.
And I mentioned, we were talking about this off air, watching Max KZR Racing go around this very tight track. Seems to have it nailed pretty good. I would expect him to be pretty good. Just kind of nail it. We'll see. I think that lap time is going to fall down, though, as some idiot, Fluffy Dave and ACR Raven, of course, get going. I've also been watching Jonathan AI, who hasn't been super fast, but it has been nailing the corners, and I think just making sure you don't get any penalties will be a great way to move up the order as well.
Yeah, penalties are certainly a thing, because they certainly came into play during the Russia race. A lot of penalties were happening left, right, and center. Like, I lost count of how many penalties people had, and I just assumed everybody had a penalty, as Raven is doing some weird stuff down the front straight. It's just weaving all across the track right there, but oh, Campu 22 takes pole so far. Well, provisional pole, the 1:36.599 in that McLaren. That's the first time I've seen Ocampo up there. All the ultra soft tires. Now we gotta have to point out the pit strategy for today. It is the ultra softs to the soft tires. The hyper softs go away like a piece of paper on fire on this track. The ultra softs go to around 9 to 11 laps, and then the softs go around from just 19 laps to 21. So you won't be really seeing hyper softs today. So if you do, they're on a different strategy. They're probably going to go for a 2-stop.
I would imagine so. I mean, just a couple of laps with hypersofts. I mean, kind of what's the point, to be honest? At least for me, with the way that this track sort of bash his tires in with a bludgeon almost. I would personally start with the hardest tire that you can. Just start there, and then at the end of the race, when your car is a little bit lighter, go to the softer tire and go with that.
Yeah, during the race, I always prefer. I don't do this anymore because I don't drive. I always prefer the harder tires to the softer compound. Just have the faster ending stint, and just be very consistent in the opening stages. Avoid all the instances, and just push it in your mid stint when all the guys who just come into the pits. That's when you have the advantage on them because you still have the grip while they don't. As Max KZR Racing and Elgato, the gap between them is .046. Extremely close between these two guys.
Max on the hypersofts. Probably already going away.
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
He's, I believe he's on his... I know they say that, yeah, he's on his out lap, I believe, because those... He's just now turning up the ERS, and we do have a message from Lark Levine. You can do a one-stop from hypersofts to softs, but you're going to have to spend so much time out on those worn hypersofts that you're just going to lose the amount of time that you would have had in the advantage when you're going into the pits. So it's not optimum, but you can do it, and that's why these guys are mostly on ultra softs right now. The guys on hypersofts are just going to go for those party pole points. They're just going for position and see if they can do it. So we're watching Max KZR Racing in this giant train of people with 6 minutes left in qualifying. I believe that's some idiot. No, it's not some idiot. Some idiot doesn't drive a Williams. No, some idiot drives a Williams. He doesn't drive a Force India in this series. Hi from Russia. Hi from America. We are your colleagues. I know. Want to interact with us during the race in chat? Feel free to do so. We like having fun.
Yeah, we try our best to keep on top of it as much as possible. Sometimes we lose track a little bit as on-track stuff starts to happen.
Yeah, speaking of on-track stuff, I think I just saw Jonathan AI just go complete... Yeah, there he is. Jonathan AI completely missing the corner. Has to reverse onto track, and that is not going to help him. As he's just doing a massive three-point turn in the braking area. No, 5.
Here's 5.
6.
Yeah.
Can we get 7? Jonathan AI, everyone.
Jonathan AI impersonating Austin Powers as best as he can.
Just,
sorry, bud, I love you.
You're blowing my cover, man. Sorry. Oh, wait, here we go again.
Wait,
1.
Wait for it. Oh, that's a little
2.
dangerous.
Yeah, that's onto the track. Jonathan AI needed working on those braking points, but unlike Austin Powers, he has a fire-breathing F1 car, not a shopping trolley, as I think that was. Hi, Alan.
It was a golf cart.
What? What's the difference? It's the same motor.
Oh, so good. Max KZR Racing taking the provisional pole again.
Oh, I got a message from Creamy Johns. He's crashed the first lap of qualifying. Ouch. And I believe that message showed up on stream because I did not have game capture on. That doesn't mean message me willingly.
We've got some idiot and Raven fans in the chat. Good to see you.
By fans, it's just Alan. Oh, Mancu! Collision with Max KZR Racing!
Wow.
He gets a 5 place grid penalty.
Dang.
Must have been a massive, but both Red Bulls colliding with each other. No, wait, the Toro Rosso colliding with the Red Bull. Oh, you hate to see it. I know they aren't technically teams, but they're underneath the same driver's program. That is just disastrous. And yeah, both of them going into the pits, but Manku is up in third right now. And he almost hit him again going into the pits. There, you guys got to keep it on point, guys. Come on. Well, speaking of on point, let's take a look at some idiot down in fourth, coming around the final corners on these ultra soft tires, and takes pole. 134.435, and Fluffy Dave right behind him in third. But some idiot, an entire 1.2 seconds ahead of everyone else. Now let's see what the championship leader of ACR Raven can do with 2 minutes left. Coming through sector 3 right now. Up through the final corners, up through Sparky. Here he goes across the line. ACR Raven invalidated it.
Up.
That was a 135, but it was invalidated. ACR Raven is down in 9th. And with 1 minute 40 seconds left, he's going to have to push his car all around this track. Hopefully, just getting a lot of tire wears. There's a front wing on the field. I believe that is Kermie Johns or Italy Forces. But he's going to have to push his car around the track, gain so much tire wear because that was his banker. And he invalidated it.
Well, you got to make sure you don't leave the track at all. You'd think with the walls being so close to the track, you couldn't do that. You just couldn't cut a corner or anything like that. But there's a lot of room on the apexes in many of these corners. Just barely nick it. It will invalidate your lap. So you got to be careful.
I just realized Alan's talking with himself. I'm not saying why, but I know he's using both his accounts and he's talking to himself in chat. I know who you are, Alan. Anyway, as we're watching Raven try to get his car, he's got 40 seconds left. So let's ride on board with Raven, see if he can push his car to the crunch zone. He's not on low fuel because that fuel light is not on. He's just in low res right now. He turns it up to 5. He's in 8th gear. He has to get it all together. He drops it down to 5 through Sparky, which is my nickname for that wall because if you touch it at night, it sparks. And Raven will have one more flying lap to go here in Singapore. I almost said Russia.
Oh!
Jumps.
Nearly invalidates it on the second corner.
Oh, that
Coming
is
down Boulevard.
Oh, that's Assassin. Oh yeah. Oh, he
just touches the wall.
That was more aggressive touch than that was more of a slam than a touch, but very hard hit for Raven right here.
Spinning the tire just a little bit.
Yep. Coming through this little labyrinth through sector 2, coming onto the front straight. Nice helicopter shot. Giving us right there. Drives straight over the bump. The racing line dips to the left a little bit because there's a hump in the track, and that's not good for ride height. Raven jumps over that curb right there. Still a valid lap right there, and that is a lovely apex, I must say. It's right-hander in sector 3. A little bit wide exit. Coming into the place where everyone invalidates their laps if they are not careful. A little bit of an overshoot, clipping the inside curb at not the right spots. And he's got a few more corners left. Oh, back end stepping out right there into Sparky. Doesn't tap it. He has no ERS remaining. He's degrading. And across the line, Raven takes third. It's Triton in second. Some idiot takes pole. Raven in third. Wow.
Wow, indeed. He just didn't quite have enough oomph to get it around the track, much like I'm sure he thought he would. And he was spinning the tires up quite a bit there. The rear end stepping out a little bit more than I thought he meant to. Just getting on the gas a little bit too early.
It was the ERS management that lap. It wasn't helping him at all. He ran out of ERS at the end. Well, here are your results. It's some idiot taking pole, followed by Triton and Raven in third. Max KCR Racing in fourth, followed by Fluffy Dave, Ocampu, Manku, who has a 5-position penalty. Tezu, Heineken, Mikey, Not Ryom, Jonathan AI, Muddy Water, Goodbye Biceps, Kane Jr., Intergalactic Gentleman, Pranky, Lundquist Bro, and Italy Force, and Creamy Johns. Creamy had a crash during the race, so he's going to try to do what Triton did last race and go, well, and just try to have a great start from last. But Triton, second spot. Do you think this will be a thorn in Raven's side, starting behind some idiot, an entire row behind him?
Definitely. Some idiot has a huge chance here to jump into the lead, have a car between him and Raven, and hopefully get a little bit of a gap on Raven, and then the strategy starts to play out. It's just a matter of time for some idiot.
And
that's it. Some idiot has had trouble in the past with being consistent, and with this track being so important on the consistency, we'll have to see if he can hold that thought as he moves through the race. Raven also has had some problem with that, mostly with the rear tire wear. Of course, when he starts to get a little bit impatient is when the gas pedal starts to twitch a little bit, and so he'll have to keep that in check as well, especially in this early part of the race.
Yes, we are. And as we are waiting for the start of the race, we're going to leave you with some messages from Hype Energy. And we are back. I hope you guys are ready and hyped up. Hashtag AOR hype in chat for this wonderful race. It's Summit and Triton in the first row. In the second row, it is Raven and Max KZR Racing. In the third row, it is Fluffy Dave and Ocampu. And I've lost count. The fourth row, it is Manku and Tezu. And in the fifth row, it's Heineken and Z3 Mikey, and Ninja will take you through the rest.
Well, so we've had some issues here, actually. Jonathan AI and Muddy Water have been disqualified. I don't know why. Hopefully that'll clear out.
Yeah, just a bit of light contact. Nothing serious. They'll start the race.
I think there was some desync issues as well right there at the very beginning as we went to commercial. Bit of an issue on that, but I'm sure that'll get cleared up here pretty soon. The host of the race is in the middle of the United States. We haven't really had much issue when it came to really this whole season. A couple little blips here and there, but nothing super important as far as the championship is concerned.
It's never affected the lead of the race.
Right, that's for sure. I know it's affected a couple of people in the back markers, but not too bad.
Yeah. Well, as they are lining up on the grid, it's time to get ready to rumble here in Singapore.
Under the lights, everyone's going to have to really pay attention here. At the beginning of the race, the first three corners are absolutely pivotal. I would expect to see a couple of spinners as people make their way around.
Yes, they are getting the position change ready to go. All 20 cars on the grid. Lights are coming on right now. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Red lights. And away they go here in Singapore. Alrighty, massive start from Lundquist Bro, jumping up 3 whole places, but look at some idiot. Easy. Fluffy Days actually made contact with Max KZR Racing. And Max KZR Racing has dropped down with Tezu. But there was a big contact in the very back, but clean enough from the start. I didn't see any massive change as they were coming down on this long front straight. As Jonathan AI has already retired from the race. Just a massive amount of cars. Z3 Mikey and Ocampo going side by side. But Ocampo is going to try to hold up the inside line, but look at Z3 Mikey holding it off around the outside.
Mikey's got to get a good drive out of this corner or else he's going to get caught.
Yeah, into the Singapore sling. Both of them keeping it very nice and easy as they're going to start forming a line right here. Let's go back to the starting fight as Fluffy Dave, Triton's in the wall. Triton is in the wall going slow. He's dropped down 3 places. Back to where he qualified. And, oh, he just smacked the outside of that wall and he's going slow down that back straight right there. It is not good for Triton. He's hit the wall.
He's hit the wall, yeah. He's sitting in 5th place, but he's holding just fine.
Yeah, I think he just tapped it and just had not the best exit out of that corner as the car ahead of him, Max KZR Racing, also smacked into the wall. But Raven has jumped Fluffy Dave, and he's actually jumped Triton and everyone else, and they're off doing their own things now. They're off back into the 1-2 that we usually see them in.
And Raven got himself a massive start, was able to get around everyone except for Some Idiot. Some Idiot also got a great start, and so they're going to duel it out there at the head of the field. Some Idiot trying to get a little bit of a gap on Raven right now.
He's not going to get a gap right now. The Raven is sitting in the slipstream. He doesn't have DRS. DRS is super effective on this track, but what Some Idiot has to do is definitely hold off Raven throughout these corners and pull out a gap.
Triton nearly made a jump on Max KZR Racing, but decided to back out of it. Didn't really have the line. Max having some issue getting some rear hookup, and you got Tezu just hunkering down in the back, waiting to pounce.
Yeah, a bit of yellow flags coming along as the midfield is just all crazy right now. As they're side by side in the midfield, it's Creamy Johns and Mankiw side by side through the sling. Mankiw's going to try to hold it, but no can do. Creamy John sneaks it up the inside and snatches that position from Mankiw. Mankiw's been having a very hard race today. He's just been falling down 9 positions with that penalty that he got from qualifying. When he was racing with Max KZR Racing and qualifying, he did. How'd they get a TV pod on Spectate? I found a way around it. It's in the camera settings, actually. Oh, Max KZR Racing losing the back end, and he's in the wall! Disastrous for Max KZR Racing!
Yeah, he's lost the wing. He's done. He's going to have to limp this car all the way around the track if he wants to get back to the pits. If he can. Don't know if that's a smart idea.
Oh my goodness, he's going back into... Oh. He almost backed into that Ferrari right there.
That would have been Creamy Johns.
Yeah. He's right ahead of Intergalactic Gentleman, but very disastrous for Max KZR Racing. You see the back end of that car extremely loose. I believe he was just running a qualifying setup, just wanted to start, but didn't account for the amount of race fuel that he'll have to carry in. And that's what has caused him to lose the back end. And the way I got the TV pod is I adjusted the offset so it's where it's in the middle of the screen, and then I moved it up. And as that incident was going on, Triton got a 5-second penalty for corner cutting and gaining an advantage.
Told you, it's a lot easier to do here than people think. I mean, yeah, it might be a street circuit, but there's a lot of room on these apexes. You can get all 4 tires off of the track, especially in the final corners.
Oh, we have a crash. Ocampo. He's crashed it in the wall underneath the Bay Stadium. Just overcooked it to the outside, and yeah, those are 2 wheels off the car, and that's him out of the race.
Ouch. Rough one. He was looking to have a good one, trying to score a little bit of points, move up the order a touch. I've been keeping track of the front of the field, and it's pretty much just 1-2, and then Fluffy Dave a couple seconds behind. Raven and Some Idiot have basically checked out of the field, but Some Idiot has not been able to gap at all. Raven keeping station here as the DRS should be coming on here soon. I haven't seen them.
This is not a DRS straight.
No, not the straight. No, I mean just available.
Yeah, DRS is available, but Raven hasn't closed up to some idiot enough to make advantage fully of that situation. We also saw Raven struggling with ERS management in qualifying. This might transition into the race as there's a bit of drifting going on by these cars. As Tezu is closing up with Mikey, so we might check out of this fight at the start and look at this fight for 5th between Tezu and Mikey. As we know, oh, we got a yellow flag in sector 2. Not sure what is causing that. Oh, I think I just saw Heineken lose the back end. Yes, he did. Underneath the stadium section. And it's not good as the fast lap goes to Triton.
Nice.
Usually you see somebody at Raven conquering these things, but Triton with all these 4-lap old tires puts in the fastest lap. And he is the fastest man on track as Tezu gets a 3-second time penalty for... Oh, Italy forces left the session.
Your biggest movers right now, I think would be really cool to mention. Creamy Johns has moved up 8 positions. And then after that, it's Muddy Water sitting in 8th, has moved up 5. Obviously, some of that has to do with the retirements and just straight movement. Muddy Water sitting 8th and Creamy Johns sitting 12th at this point. Creamy Johns might be able to score some points as the race wears on.
All right, well, as you talk about that, look at the gap. Raven has closed in on some idiot. They were almost front-wing to gearbox through these corners. Fluffy Dave's lost it in the background on the exit of that corner. We saw his back-end shootout right there. And that is not that good for Fluffy Dave as pit stops are coming out right now for Intergalactic Gentleman, Italy Force, and Lundqvist Bro.
Fluffy Dave has recovered well, but he's got Triton breathing down his neck. Gonna have to keep it clean if he doesn't want to get passed by Triton, who is hungry right now.
Yeah, Triton is definitely hungry. Fluffy Dave does have a second gap to him, but the real fight is up at front between Raven and some idiot. Raven does have DRS coming down this front straight. Probably not going for a move right here. We're on board this T-Cam. Bit of lockup in the front right of Raven. That's not going to help him. Because remember, the pit strategy for this race is 9 to 11 laps on these ultra soft tires, as that graphic shows us. And there goes Raven. Oh, he tried to sell a dummy as Not Ryan gets a 5-second stop go penalty for speeding in the pit lane. And for the soft runners, expect them to go 19 to 21 laps, as our lovely graphic has shown us. We go back to the battle of Raven and some idiot as they travel through the Singapore sling. It's a very tricky corner to get right, as I believe Goodbye Biceps and Kane Jr. Oh. Yeah, they were having a battle. Creamy Johns also looked like he was going to go for it, as Italy Force is now back in the race. Glad he can get everything back in. But look at Kane Jr. and Goodbye Biceps. Kane sitting in the slipstream. He's going to try to go on the inside into the Singapore sling. Oh, thought about it. Wanted to say, I'm going to keep it safe. And he just backed off. But these 3 guys staying very close with each other. So they got another straight to go. There are yellow flags all over this track.
I'm keeping my eye on Kane Jr. right now. He's looking pretty hungry, but he's got to be really careful as to how he approaches this pass. Goodbye Biceps might not be expecting it, especially if there's a bit of a dive. And they have Creamy Johns behind him in the Ferrari, keeping him honest. Who is the...
Oh my... He's... He tried for the move on the inside, but he was just squeezed off and he lost a bit of his front wing right there. That was not the place to try that. That is the narrowest point in the track. I had to say something. Kane Jr., you have guts to try that. And here,
we got to pass, though. Creamy John's taking 9th place from Kane. I think Kane might be a little bit shaken up after all that. Just realizing that the door was shut a little bit too late. Now Creamy John's might have a chance to see what he can do on Goodbye Biceps.
yeah, Creamy John's definitely has the speed on Goodbye Biceps right here. Kane just didn't have the downforce and turning values as we see Creamy John sending it up through the thing. Goodbye Biceps just left him all the room, and Creamy John takes 2 positions in 1 sector.
Just a bit of car handling possibility here for Creamy Johns. It looks like he's got a bit of a push. The front end not wanting to turn all that much. He might have set the car up to be a little bit stable here at the beginning of the race. Seems to be working out for him. He's moved up 12 positions now.
Great driving by Creamy Johns. Definitely someone to look out for. Let's go over to Triton and Fluffy Dave, the battle for P3. Triton extending the track just a tad bit. Does have DRS on Fluffy Dave going into this opening chicane complex. Look how much gap he's closing in on Fluffy Dave right there. Triton. Oh!
Good save there by Triton. Activated the DRS, and it looked like it just got a little bit crazy. He's still going kind of nuts there, trying to get a pass here on Fluffy Dave. Now, Dave is not an easy guy to pass. He will hold his line, as Fluffy Dave has the inside here, leaves some room.
Oh, we're under VSC. We're under VSC right now. As Max K0 Racing, Lunkless Bro gets a 5-second stop-go penalty for a severe collision with Max K0 Racing, who is out of the race!
Wow. Max, not having a great qualifying. Seriously not having a great race, especially now
it's
that
in the
he's
bridge.
out.
He crashed in the bridge. Now, as we're under VSC, oh, and I'm on board with Italy Force, and he just crashed into the wall. But as we're under VSC, who is going to pit first if this VSC lasts into the pit lane? Would it be somebody and Raven both going into the pits?
Dude, that's a great question. I don't know. Honestly, I really don't know. Summit and Raven usually really good about conserving their tires. And we'll have to see if they even go for it anyways.
Well, we're back to green now, so that question's out of the room because they clear that car off the track very fast. But we already have 4 retirements in this full grid. But the gap to Raven and somebody has closed down to just a paper in between that front wing and gearbox. As they're back to racing and going green. Raven has DRS on some idiot. So they're entering into Sector 1 right now. It's the yellow flag going here. Some idiot losing the back end, missing the apex, but getting a very fast push as the Intergalactic Gentleman is slow on the outside of the track. Luckily, he does not interfere with that. But all the leaders...
Gentleman living up to his namesake, being the gentleman that he is.
As Muddy Mark gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. It's very easy to cut the track here.
Yeah. And you know what? I think it's more not necessarily cutting the track. It's probably extension.
Yeah.
And there's a rule that says if you gain a certain amount of time, it's considered a cut or an extension, depending on which way you go. And that's all depending on your actual lap time, sector time, things like that. So that's just within Formula One, and that's how they formulate that. And obviously, if you don't leave the track, they're not going to enact that rule, as there's another slow driver there. That's Pranky, yeah.
Oh, was that Triton in the background getting extremely loose?
Let's have a look.
There's just yellow flags all over the place. I think I just saw the back of Triton just back end just slide out, but he recovered it very quickly.
Well, Triton is on the Hypersofts, too.
Oh. No, he's on the Ultras.
Yeah, Ultras. Oh, he slams the wall. Looks like he's okay.
Yeah, I don't see any wing damage on his car. Let's take a look at Mankiw and Heineken going side by side. But Mankiw on these Ultrasoft tires gets past Heineken with ease in these early sectors, and he's already pulling a gap to Heineken.
We should be seeing pit stops here very soon.
Yeah,
I believe Mankiw is on the soft, so
yes, he is. No, Mankiw's on the Ultrasofts. Heineken's on the softs.
Heineken's on the softs, I'm sorry. They're two Red Bulls. What do you want me to say?
They look similar. They're both blue. You look at one, you think of the other.
Yeah. You know, we can go with that. I'll go with that. I'm gonna go with it.
It's how I get. It's how I get the letter. It's how I confuse Williams with Mercedes the entire time. Their little bar on the side just looks similar to me.
Fair? No, that's fair.
Same with Alfa Romeo and Ferrari. The red looks similar. The only one that I do not get confused by is Haas and Renault.
I was gonna say Haas, Renault,
McLaren.
McLaren, yeah.
Yeah, those they thought outside of the box, and definitely Force India. Duh. I mean Racing Point.
Racing Point now. It's Racing Point, yes, but still Force India in this game is. We're starting to see some drivers get a little bit antsy. Only 10 laps in here.
Somebody pulling a gap to Raven. He's pulled out a second gap now. Who's going to pit here? Raven's going into the pits. Raven was already losing time to some idiot, and he just decided that was it, and he's going in for those soft tires. Oh, and he's being held. He got held in the pit lane.
Yep.
The Haas of Triton held him up. As Triton is serving a pit lane penalty for earlier incident early on the race. Let's go to Goodbye Biceps as he's battling with Not Ryan for P12. But is that going to play out in some idiot's favor with Raven getting held?
Maybe just a little bit. It doesn't look like it was that bad, honestly. Honestly, you don't want to run into people, and I think Raven would have agreed with that call, anyways. One of the good guys of the series, of course, some idiot being the evil genius that he is.
I don't know if you're picking sides or not. But
no, not at all. Why would I do that?
It sounds like you're creating this good versus evil storyline. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm kind of with you on there.
Is that not what this is?
One's the evil mastermind driving the Williams, and the other's a good guy shining in red.
Yeah, of course. Totally. It's definitely not a Darth Vader-esque thing at all.
Alright, well... well, some idiots, I believe Raven is older than some idiot.
Yeah, okay.
Nah, some idiot's the bad guy, let's do that. And the evil genius mastermind is going into the pits!
There's a wreck. Notarium and Muddy Water running into each other. I take that back. Notarium running into Muddy Water after getting run into by Biceps.
That's a parking lot right there.
Yeah, this is insane. These guys are battling tooth and nail, and Muddy Water's just trying to run his race. I don't think you realize that Notarium was that close, and suddenly Goodbye Biceps runs into the back of Notarium, and Notarium was pretty close, just could not get the car under control before running into the back of Muddy Water. Now the fight for 11th is
oh my goodness! Again, Goodbye Biceps
trying to dive bomb from way far out.
I don't think you're Danny Rick, but he's certainly sending all these attempts, and he's got to watch it because they're getting penalty points.
Oh, they ran into the wall. Goodbye Biceps might have some damage there. It looked like he ran into the wall. There might have been a little bit of desync there, and he's definitely super close. But Goodbye Biceps is all over Notarium at this point.
Oh, I'm sorry to interrupt. Raven and some idiot are side by side coming out of the pit lane and through Sector 1. Raven on the inside, and I think Raven pushes some idiot out wide. He lets him space, though. He didn't get into the wall, but Raven takes first place as some idiot is trying to hold him back through the Singapore sling, but the fight for the lead is out and well, and the fight for the fate of the universe between good and bad is going all over the place.
It is definitely lit up here. Some idiot I don't think is coming to the pits yet.
No, he just did.
Oh, he just did. He just came out of the pits. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Raven did the undercut and definitely paid off in his favor. No holding whatsoever held him back as Raven is now pulling away from some idiot. I don't think some idiot has any damage, but he's losing a lot of time to Raven.
Some idiot, obviously. Well, you might have to save a little fuel. He was in the lead there for a little while, and Raven kind of tucked into the slipstream of somebody for a little while. We'll have to see if Raven is able to work his ERS. We saw that in qualifying. Wasn't quite able to nail that front row because of that. Maybe some idiot will be able to catch him, but right now, Raven definitely top dog at the moment. We're only 13 laps in, though.
I don't know if I blinked and I just imagined it, but I think I saw a speck of rain.
What?
I may be going crazy, though.
I mean, are you not crazy?
Yeah.
Jury's out.
Huh.
I mean, I'm crazy.
I
Just admit it. It's fine. We'll still love you. It's okay.
I know. I'm just trying to say. I'm just trying to think if I should announce or not.
Oh. I mean, you know what it is what it is.
All right. I'm crazy, everybody.
He's a high-functioning crazy.
The typhoon's coming in here through Singapore.
There we go.
And all the kittens will be in a tornado.
Oh, God. Oh, God. Singapore is about to be lit.
Sharknado 4.
Literally Sharknado during an F1 race. Easy.
All right. Let's talk. We've lost it, okay?
We have lost it. That said, Fluffy Dave has actually come out of the pits on Ultra Softs again.
He's going for a two-stop. He's going to...
That's odd.
Now, this is actually smart. If you think of it, Fluffy Dave has more grip than some idiot on these ultra soft tires. He can push ahead of some idiot and Raven because he is definitely gaining on them. These soft tires, they don't have a lot of grip. And these ultra soft tires are 2 steps ahead of them. So in theory, he is on the fastest compound to get ahead. And then when he'll be on the Hypersofts, it'll just be like a rocket ship if he's going onto them. But Fluffy Dave definitely closing in on some idiot and Raven. We got to overtake. Oh, never mind. That was Manka going to the pits. Back to Fluffy Dave, the rocket ship, the man, the myth, the legend.
I just like that somebody is trying something a little bit different. I mean, we're seeing a few ultra soft takers in the backfield, and that'll shake things up, I'm sure, as we'll try to keep an eye on that. But Fluffy Dave trying something a little bit different than the leaders, and it might work out for him, at least for him to see the lead, and a definite challenge could be had. It's just a matter of making sure that he doesn't fry those things up. He can't go too fast. That's really easy to do.
Yeah, we saw that go absolutely wrong for Max KZR Racing, who lit up the back wheels and just shot into the pit wall, bringing out the first caution. I swear I just saw another bit of rain.
You're not crazy. I just saw it too.
Okay, thank you.
Now, I don't know if that's just the game glitching out a touch.
Well, it will be like
that fast lap by Fluffy Dave. He's in
the 139s. And some idiot and Raven. Oh. Okay, that was weird.
Could have been a desync.
No, it's just all the guys that looked like they were parked for me.
Yeah, bit of desync.
Okay.
Everything's good. Still Raven, some idiot, and Fluffy Dave about ready to duke it out here for the lead. As Triton and Creamy John's holding down the top 5 for now. Creamy John should be coming into the pits here pretty soon. 14 laps on soft tires.
Yeah, some idiot, Raven and Fluffy Dave, all of them getting extremely close to each other. I swear, I'm seeing more bits of rain.
Oh, what is that?
I don't think it's raining, but it's looking like rain. It's just like the actual Singapore Grand Prix where there is... No, that is rain. That's rain. That's actual rain falling down.
Oh my goodness.
Ladies and gentlemen, we might have a very wet ending to this race.
Fluffy Dave is a genius. He'll be able to stay out a lap or two longer than Raven and some idiot while they come in for wets because those softs are not going to hold. The ultra softs will, though, for at least another lap or two, possibly 2 if he's careful. He'll be able to come into the pits a little bit later, get a bit of a gap on the top 2,
Well, actually, this is smart. Fluffy Dave might have looked at the weather before this, and he's gaining on Some Idiot and Raven in this rainy conditions. They all have to come in through intermediate tires if it gets serious enough, but currently it's not affecting the race so far. But he is definitely so close to each other that is going to come into a pit stop strategy, and Some Idiot's struggling for grip right now.
Yeah, Some Idiot is definitely having a little bit of a hard time. They are going to have to be careful on the racing line. Now, Fluffy Dave will be able to hold the line for just a little bit longer as he's squaring up for a pass here.
Oh, there he goes. Nope. Thought about it. Didn't want it. So
Just showing him the wheel. Doing the old Mario Andretti.
Yep, showing him the wheel, selling the dummy, seeing if Some Idiot lives up to his name. Surprisingly, not really.
Not really, no. He's actually a pretty smart guy. And also a decently nice dude.
And also an evil genius.
And, well, no.
Yeah.
I didn't say that. What?
It might just be, I'm just probably crazy. But the crazy part of me saw the rain, so.
No. I was seeing it too. I think. You know what it is? It's so humid in Singapore that out of nowhere it will just precipitate.
It's just the rain coming off the it's just the window wipers, guys. It's just Windex. It's not rain.
I mean, it's literally out of thin air, just raindrops, because it's so.
I swear, the Daytona 500 does things to you. Oh, big
really
tap of
does.
the wall
That was big.
to Fluffy Dave.
This is why I don't watch it. Oh, Dave going way wide.
It's a family tradition, I must say.
Going way wide?
No, watching 500, it just, yeah.
I got you.
But enough of us Americans talk about American stuff. Let's talk about F1. Well, we got a nice back camera looking at Fluffy Dave charging down Some Idiot as these three guys just following so close. Once again, the rain falling down but not seeming to affect any of them, and Fluffy Dave just being held up behind Raven and Some Idiot. He has to get that overtake very soon.
Especially as these tires start to fall off.
Yeah,
he's going to start losing grip here pretty quick. But, yeah, he's definitely holding station here with Some Idiot and Raven. We've been kind of waiting for this for a little while, too. Fluffy Dave has shown a lot of speed recently in this particular series. But, man, he's keeping it really clean. He's not locking up tire or anything. We're not seeing any smoke.
Yeah, there is smoke coming from Raven and Some Idiot, but as the top three are just battling it out, all of them are just keeping it clean, staying in that line, just trying to find that spot to make the overtakes in. But none of them can get close to each other, but this is the closest they've all been to each other.
All season.
Yeah. Well, besides the starts, but...
and we should probably note that the rest of the race is kind of spaced out a little bit. A lot of the people that have had issues or were having issues have dropped out. We have 15 runners at this point, and everybody literally about 6 seconds behind each other. Some idiot trying to break the slipstream there of Fluffy Dave, but Dave is starting to fall back a little bit.
Yeah, Dave's falling back to his second. I saw him slowing up after. I saw him slowing up after the little floating platform section where they go underneath the bridge, and yeah, Fluffy Dave's fallen back to a second. He does have DRS right here, I believe. No, he doesn't. And some idiot setting it up the inside! Well, it was looking like it, but there's a big lockup from some idiot right there. Some Idiot and Raven. It's getting racy right here.
Yes, it is, and it's really going to come down to if Fluffy Dave can save these tires for as long as he can. We thought he might be able to get a pass going. I'm starting to see droplets now. Yeah,
there's droplets going, and Not Ryan is the first car on intermediates. I don't see any spray coming off of these tires.
No, not at all.
So, I don't think that is the right choice, because DRS is still enabled.
It's definitely going to be slightly damp sections of the track, but these tires should hold just fine.
Yeah, it's going to be very slicky, but it's in that gray area where you want to go in onto the intermediates because you know of the rain, but it's also not wet enough for the intermediates. It's in that gray area where nothing works. So this is all driver skill and keeping all four wheels planted on the ground and have enough grip to stay to the end of the race.
I was just about to say that. It's really just come down to driver skill at this point. How good is that right foot? And how good is that left foot as you brake? Coming into certain corners, it will be a little bit slick. Just going to have to drag that brake just a touch. Get that weight forward and start using those front tires a little bit more. And then get off the brake a little bit earlier than you probably would feel like you need to, just to make sure that the front end is planted and that back end starts to rotate the way you expect it to.
It's also how good is your right arm, right hand, left hand, and all your fingers too. Oh, and your eyes.
Don't forget that thing between your ears.
Your nose.
No.
Your brain.
No. Yes.
Well, you can see why I don't race anymore. Mine doesn't work.
Your words, just saying.
It works in different ways. It doesn't work with driving anymore. Trust me on that.
I'm not even going to make a comment because I did a 24-hour race a little while ago. Oh, it's time penalty for some idiot.
That is going to be disastrous for some idiot right there. 3-second time penalty. Raven is clean. Fluffy Dave is clean. This might put Fluffy Dave up into his first P2. I don't believe he's had a P2 at all.
No, he's been either third or worse. I actually have the standing still. It's pretty much third or worse. A lot of fourths. He has actually
Raven's going slow! Raven's going slow off the exit. Some idiot flinging it around the outside! They're side by side heading into turn one, but look at some idiot trying to hold it. His back end squirming around, and look at some idiot taking P1!
What happened to Raven?
Out of nowhere.
The only thing that I can think that might have happened is that Raven... Oh, Fluffy Dave's looking.
Raven's looking.
Coming into this very tight left-hander.
Raven's going to try to hold around the outside. Oh, looking for the switchback. No, some idiot holds it. His back end shot out and just blocked Raven of that opportunity. But look at Fluffy Dave. Don't count out Dave right here.
Dave's definitely got the slipstream through here. Gonna keep it nice and tidy through this sweeper. It's a slowing sweeper. You have to be very careful through there.
Only 20 points separate some idiot and Raven in the fight for the lead.
Just for the record, Fluffy Dave has actually taken a win. He took a win in round 5.
That is true.
After Raven did not start and some idiot was crashed.
Round 5 was Spain, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's Spain.
Yes, it was.
Spain's a weird track.
It's a great track.
It's a weird track.
And Fluffy Dave has got a little bit of a weird style to it. Definitely willing to try anything and everything just to see what would happen. Spain is a track that kind of iterates that sort of style as Fluffy Dave goes way wide on the final corner again. He's definitely having some grip issues if he gets offline.
Someone need to dive into the inside, slowing up just a tad bit. I think he's trying to save a bit of fuel, and that's why he's breaking the line. Trying the old Pascal Wehrlein tactic up in Formula E if you catch that race in Mexico this weekend. Did you catch it?
That's a big negative, sir.
Well, in the last closing laps, he was saving some idiot.
What? You want to start that over?
Yeah. Sorry, one sec. In the last closing laps, he was low on power and was saving his battery life by lifting off in the straights and diving down the inside to break that slipstream and defend into the opening corner. I was reading chat, and out as soon as Alan typed the some idiot trade, I read idiot. Thank you, Alan.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, you know that thing between your ears that doesn't work? Yeah, mine doesn't work sometimes.
Yours is wired a little differently. Sometimes it's a bit of a short. I know the feeling, man.
Yeah.
Feeling all too well.
And as the rain is definitely coming down even harder, I think it's time. I think it might be time for the wets, but I don't see any spray from these cars.
No, I don't. Not quite.
It's just like the real-life F1 Singapore Grand Prix. There's rain, present, it's falling down, but it's not affecting the racing at all.
Definitely on certain parts of the track, it's starting to just a touch heavy, and of course the drivers have to be super careful through that section of the track. We do have one driver on intermediates. It's Notarium.
Yeah.
But he's not gaining any time. In fact, he just came into the pits, so he might have realized that it was a little bit too early for that. To see what he comes out on.
Yeah, I think the rain is starting to light up and pick up in different areas. This is just weird. Because we got a yellow flag at Sector 2 that these guys are going through. There might be a car somewhere blocking the track. There's a yellow flag ahead of them. They're just fighting through the Singapore Sling. Remember, somebody has a 3-second time penalty. What he might try to do is hold up Raven as much as he can and try to force Raven to get a 3-second time penalty. Put his car into a little precarious... Like, try to pull him out in a precarious situation and force him to make the incident. As Fluffy Dave, he's fallen out of this situation.
Yeah, and I think those Ultra Softs are starting to bite him just a little bit. I think he's trying to hold on as long as he can before the rain really starts to affect the track, which would make sense. This is probably around the time when his weather people told him that this would require a tire change anyways, hence the decision to go with Ultra Soft.
He's staying out.
He's staying out, yeah. He's getting pretty skittish, though.
This would be the very last lap Fluffy Dave has before he has to go to pits, according to our strategy. He could last a bit longer and go onto the hypers very soon, but currently it's just it's not the right tire to be on. It's already falling apart, and he's losing ground to Triton, who's moved up. Look at Triton, he's caught up to the leaders.
I was just about to say that Triton starting to show some signs of life here, hopefully looking for a podium. The Tritonites in the chat should start cheering him on.
You guys know who you are. As Goodbye Biceps has been given a 5-second stop go penalty for crossing the pit exit, as we have a few retires. Heineken and Tezu have made contact with each other and both retire for the race. We're going to go on board with Muddy Water to see what happened. And there's carnage underneath the stands. There's cars. He's just turned completely around. Tezu and Heineken, both of them crashed underneath the stands. Cars turned completely around. Front wings missing. And it's just underneath. It looked like a war zone under there.
It's easy to do. I mean, it's a tight section. You go for a pass. And the pass there would have to be telegraphed perfectly, or else you're going to have the car in front of you, if you're making the pass, I should say.
As Goodbye Biceps has now retired from the race.
He's just going to cut down on you. And that's probably what happened. The only thing that I can imagine at that point.
Yeah, and as this is going on, somebody has pulled out a 1.248 second gap to Raven. He's pulling away. And now Trite is closing in on Dave, who is still not gone into the pits.
Those Ultra Softs trying to hold on for dear life at this point. Hopefully Fluffy Dave doesn't start spinning up the rears as he gets on the gas through this very, very tight Singaporean track.
Yeah, Triton opening up DRS. He's got the slipstream. He might go for it.
Maybe.
He thought of. It didn't really seem any. He didn't. It was going through his head, but he didn't seem any urgent about it. He didn't want to risk it. He knows Fluffy Dave is on those tires ahead of him. He probably heard that from Jeff in the control booth, and so he's just probably waiting for Fluffy Dave to go into the pits, and he's just sitting back there. But he has the pace to close up the lead.
I still find it funny that, you know, everybody just calls the spotter Jeff. I mean, I know that's...
Oh, there he goes!
Ooh, tiptoeing.
Oh, that's a lot of wheel spin from Triton right there. He didn't get the best exit. He didn't have the line advantage that Fluffy Dave did, but he certainly sent it going into that hairpin. Oh, that's a corner cut and a half.
That's a cut.
Same with Dave. Both of them cut the track, and hopefully they do not try anything silly through here. We've seen it happen so many times during this race. We've already had 3 cars retire underneath the stands. I'm surprised the second one didn't bring out a safety car of any kind. But closing up on Fluffy Dave, and it looks like Fluffy Dave's going into the pits right now.
Yeah. Good move. Good move. Nearly crossing the line there.
Yeah, that'll get him a penalty, but now it's Triton inheriting P3. We're going back to Raven and some idiot in the battle for the lead.
By the way, this is big for Triton. He's only had 1 podium. Take that back. 3. He's had 3 podiums. Basically duking it out with Fluffy Dave. There's 34 points separating them. Am I reading that correctly? No, I'm sorry. There's 84 points separating them. So Triton trying to make up a little bit of ground here on Fluffy Dave for the championship. As we have 5 rounds to go after this.
Got 5 rounds left. We already done Russia. This is the makeup week for AOR, as it is a bye week for most other races. But since us Americans love the Super Bowl, we are doing the Singapore race after the Russian race because, yeah, we don't want to leave one race undone. And it's not a complete grid, so, yeah. Always great action here in the Americas League. As Raven is some idiot. That gap was a second. It's now half a second. So I say one thing and the opposite happens. So if I say there will not be a giant collision between some idiot and Raven right here, both of them coming out of the race, it will not happen. Wait, what?
That's it's a bit of a stretch there.
Oh, I said it's not going to happen, and
I know, that's what I'm saying. It's a bit of a stretch. I'm being sarcastic, sir.
I was trying to reverse psychology because the gap has just come once again to a second. I think the ERS game is biting Raven once again.
Would also like to note that Manku in 9th place is on intermediates now, so he must be feeling something weird or seeing something where rain or just wetness could be affecting him. We'll have to see if he jumps off of those tires in a couple of laps, much like Notarium did a little bit earlier.
I think I just saw Raven cut the track, like aggressively cut the track, and he might have just got a penalty for that. Well, not a time penalty, but a warning.
Probably a warning. I haven't seen a penalty come through yet.
But there is definitely a warning out there for Raven. As some idiot is once again losing Raven. He's pulled out that gap to 2 seconds. Raven is definitely struggling for grip. The rate is falling faster and faster here. And we might have a drifting battle very soon if these guys stay out on these soft tires. I don't believe it's going to be scheduled for wet tires anytime soon, but these guys are definitely having a super hard time going this. And somebody has that 3-second time penalty. Raven does not have a time penalty on him that I know of.
I'll double check.
As check for warnings.
Yep.
As I believe Raven is on his last straw or first straw. He is falling back and he needs to get back onto it because he's having a hard time closing in on some idiot for this lead. Somebody has to win by 3 seconds if Raven does not have any penalties. He's got a 2-second gap, so he still needs to push, but it's very hard for Raven right now to close in on some idiot.
Raven does have one warning. That was back on lap 13.
So what I saw was not a corner cut.
Well, he didn't gain any time from it. Take that back. Lap 3, he had another one, so he's definitely on his last straw.
And he's 2 seconds down, so he doesn't want to take any chances. He's got this. He's currently got this with 5 laps remaining. I know, 27. Yeah, he has to hold it. He's got a second buffer to 3 seconds, 0.9 seconds. But he's been losing so much time through these last few sectors that his car is just unstable through here. As there goes a giant chunk of time. He's now half a second to 3 seconds. So, in theory, half a second ahead of some idiot, but that is falling down extremely fast. Because he is on the worst tires right now. Somebody is on 15-lap-old tires. Raven is on 16-lap-old.
You know, speaking of tires, Fluffy Dave did come into the pits and grab some Hypersofts, but he's 22 seconds behind Triton. So I would think it's reasonable to say that Triton may have secured third place and that the alternate tire strategy that Fluffy Dave was using may not work out for him. It will come down to if Triton can hold on for these last few laps, or if Fluffy Dave suddenly finds a literal ton of speed. But I mean, a 22-second gap. It's
just the weather conditions. Like, they're so unstable that it's just making every tire not work. I said this earlier. The intermediate tires, it's too dry for intermediates, but it's also too wet for soft, for any slick tires. But it looks like some idiot had a bit of trouble because Ravens gained up that time, and it's now back to 2 seconds with 4 laps to go.
Coming into that really tight section, though, where Raven does kind of struggle a bit. We know Raven does kind of have a little bit of a heavy right foot compared to Some Idiot. Maybe Some Idiot is able to find the grip a little bit easier in the tighter sections, whereas Raven can't quite get the grip down to the ground. So,
oh, Muddy Water's out of the race.
That's you hate to see that.
He was just ahead of Max KZR Racing too. But Max KZR Racing is also out of the race. I'm going to switch the camera over to Mancu to see if we can find out what has happened to Muddy Water as we're under a VSC again.
Yep, Muddy Water's stuck in the wall. We just saw the leaders pass him on the outside. Trying to figure out where exactly on the track that was.
Oh no, not Notarium has, and I believe that's the first time I actually said his name right. Notarium, 5-second penalty for speeding under virtual safety car. Now, we saw Raven struggle with the virtual safety car as well, because some idiot did get a jump on him on the virtual safety car. And this could make or break the race with 3 laps to go. And we're back to racing.
We're back
right here. Some idiot was on the straight. Raven had to deal with a corner. That might lead to some idiot's hand, because look at that time. That's 2.7 seconds. Some idiot needs a 3-second gap to beat Raven. Down to 2.8. 0.2 seconds separate some idiot and glory and gold here in Singapore.
Just jumped to 3 seconds. Raven barely holding on at this point.
Raven is slowing up on some idiot, but he needs to close down. He's just fiddling on the edge, flirting with disaster. And it's just not helping. He just dived under the 3-second gap right there. But he's just skirting on that 3-second gap. He needs to get a hold of his car in this section, but the rain is making it so uncontrollable that he's fallen down to 3.183 seconds. And I believe some idiot might, I don't want to say it, but he is getting a bit relaxed right now. But Raven is definitely not relaxed as Z3 Mikey goes into pits. Creamy Johns jumps up into P5. Oh, some idiot just lost 2.2 seconds to Raven right here. Oh, big tank slapper for Raven. And that jumps up back to 3 seconds. Welcome to the 3-second race here in AOR Americas. Penalties win races and lose races. With some idiot, Raven needs to keep this clean because he's down to 2.763 seconds with 2 laps to go. Can Raven stay with some idiot, or will he get a time penalty, or can some idiot pull away from Raven? Can Triton close in on Raven? And will Fluffy Dave get his fastest lap?
I don't think Fluffy Dave's going to get his fastest lap, unfortunately, as the just too much slipperiness in the third sector of this track at this point.
Dried up. Nope, there's the rate. That was a tunnel.
The problem right now is that Raven is so much faster. He's usually a lot faster in the opening stages, really the opening sectors, the two sectors of
Raven getting
track. But Raven got very
loose.
sideways, just going counter steer to counter steer as he was able to save that one out, but he's still closing up on Some Idiot. I think Some Idiot's had to back off quite a bit, not feeling very comfortable here. And you got a lap and a half to go. Some Idiot, and he's got a lap car in front of him too.
Yeah, Some Idiot's got the Force Idiot. I believe that's Kane Jr. in front of him. Or it might be Pranky.
Might be Pranky. Pranky has not had a great race.
Yeah, Kane Jr. just got overtaken by Mikey, and there's no one else. So we're on board with Raven, the man, the race. It all lays on his shoulder. He's sitting 2.5 seconds behind of Some Idiot with that 3-second time penalty. Raven, it all lies on Raven. He is in the barrel of the gun.
Raven also needs to keep it. Oh, Some Idiot going way sideways. Had a four-wheel drift going through the final corner of the circuit as we go into the last lap.
A second separates Raven and second place with that 3-second time penalty, and he's gaining on Some Idiot. This might be Raven's race as we are on the last lap, ladies and gentlemen. It's getting exciting. Some Idiot does have a bit of drafting from the car ahead, but he has to get past him. That is Kane Jr. I want to take a look at Raven still on this very last lap. It all lies in his hands, so we're going to watch him. Kane Jr. slips back in front of Raven, and I don't think Raven wants this part of the track to be occupied, because this is a clinch point that Raven is not that fast at. He's down to 2.5 seconds.
Some Idiot's got some clean air in front of him. He should be able to grip fairly well, but going sideways quite a bit there. He's got to keep this one clean to take the win. That said, it looks like Kane Jr. did get out of the way of Raven.
But in the braking zone, it might have obstructed his apex right here. But with 2.5 separating Raven and Some Idiot, he has 0.5 second gap to Idiot, in theory, for the win. He just has to keep these last few corners clean. Oh, that's a cut right there. I'm surprised that wasn't a corner cut. Oh, he's going sideways. He's jumped up to 3 seconds. Ladies and gentlemen, in the very last corner, I think Some Idiot has just won this. Yes, he did. The winner of the Singapore Grand Prix, Some Idiot. By 0.2 seconds, Raven loses it in the very last corner. And Triton comes in P3. Wow.
Triton with a huge finish there, but Raven just could not hold it together. Some Idiot found a little bit of speed, just found a touch. And Some Idiot was using the ERS quite a bit as well. He ran all the way down to 0, it looked like. Just about 5%. There wasn't much there. Some Idiot holding it together just barely to take this win, and as much needed as the points are now super close. I mean, we got to wait for the calculations to come through, but I believe that's going to close it up to about 15.
It's going to be 13 points, I believe.
13, I'm sorry,
yeah,
yes.
It's 8 points separate first and second. So the lead gap has dropped Raven down to a 13-point lead with only a few more races left to go.
Definitely coming down to the wire here. Taking a look at Creamy Johns. Way back, but he's going to take a top 5. Well earned for Creamy Johns.
Good race for the number 69 Ferrari. And there's a crash car on the front straight.
Oh, that's
Dave. That's Dave. No, that is Mankiw. All right, Mankiw. That's one way to finish out the race.
Yeah.
And Mikey on these Hypersofts. He's got a Pranky in front of him who's just letting him go through. But all eyes are on Some Idiot as he takes the win here. The evil mastermind takes the win, and we're sticking with the story.
Beautifully done by both parties. Honestly, it came down to the wire as we head up to the podium.
Yeah, some idiot standing atop throws a hand of victory in the air and the trophy, and there's the fist. He's like, I did it, guys! Even with a time penalty, it's all come down to the wire. He still won it by 0.2 seconds. Raven lost it in the last few corners. Went a bit sideways and tail happy, and it was utterly close. As we earn a bit of DR. Wow, that's a lot of experience right there.
Apparently we did a good job. It's some idiot had that 3-second time penalty, but it did not come to fruition for Raven. Raven taking second place, Triton in third, Fluffy Dave in fourth, and Creamy Johns with a fifth. Well earned for Creamy Johns.
Yeah, Z3 Mikey moving up from 10th all the way into... Creamy Johns was 20th.
Yep.
And he moved up to 5th.
Yeah. Huge mover.
Yeah, Mikey 10th to 6th, Kane Jr. 15th to 7th, Manku in 8th, followed by Intergalactic Gentleman, Notarium, Pranky, Muddy Water, Heineken, Tezu, Goodbye Biceps, Lung Quizbro, Italy Force, Max KZR Racing, Okambu, and Jonathan AI. How many people retired from that race? A lot. 8.
Yeah.
So, what a race we just had. Wow, we're going to go into a little ad break and rejoin you guys back in the interviews box very soon. Hello, everybody. We are back in the commentary box. I got some idiot with us, Raven and Triton, the entire podium with us. And honestly, you guys brought out a heck of a fight to the very end.
I'm trying to catch my breath still. You should have heard me celebrating. I'm out of breath.
Well,
same. I'm pretty happy.
All right. Well, let's go up from third to first. Just let some idiot catch his breath as well. Triton, how was that race for you?
It was kind of frustrating in the beginning because on lap 1, before the end of the second sector, I hit the wall and went into a half spin and lost 2 positions off of it. And then Max spun off, and I went around to avoid him, and I got a stop-go penalty for that. So I thought I was probably going to lose my podium position and possibly even 4th place, but it was luckily I had the strategy right and the track wasn't too wet, so I'm glad with how I did.
All right, I am glad you are having such a good time. Congrats on the podium. Let's go over to Raven. It was a tough race for you, but it seemed like in the final corner you just lost your back end and it just wasn't there for you. Tell us what was happening in that slight rain drizzle. Was it just the tire wear going out, or what happened?
Combination of not doing enough practice and everybody looking at the weather forecast before the race and not seeing any rain on the forecast. So that caught me off guard. I would have definitely done something different had we known it was going to do that. So just congrats to some idiot for getting the win. I mean, I hate to throw it away in the last couple corners like that, but at the end of the day, I only really feel like I deserve it if I do it on track. So yeah, good job to him, and hopefully I'll have better luck next time at Suzuka.
Ninja, I'll let you talk to some idiot right here.
Somebody, do we have you?
Yes, sir.
Have you caught your breath?
Yeah, I'm alright.
All right.
Yeah,
So
I can't be upset. I can't be upset.
what's going through your mind now? I mean, you had the lead, and you knew you had to just beat out at a certain rate. I mean, what was going through your mind there towards the end of the race?
Let me add, I had a 3-second time penalty. With the legitimacy of it, I'm not going to attest to. It's not the point here. But I knew I had to get out of 3 seconds, and I caught it when I was behind Raven, so I'm like, okay, I've got to somehow get by Raven, then I've got to hope that I can just outdrive him the rest of the way, and I think a few things went my way in that, and it put me P1. I'm happy it happened. Not really sure how I should have gotten by him, if I should have got by him like I did, but I'm just very, very happy is all I can say.
You had some lapped cars there in front of you there towards the end. Did that kind of
It wasn't a
mess
problem.
with you a little bit?
There was no problem. There was no problem at all. They were class.
Well,
no problem.
Good, man. Congratulations on the win. Well earned.
Thank you.
All right, we also have another driver in here. He started in last and moved up an entire 15 spots. Creamy Johns, welcome. How was that race for you? You were our driver of the day.
That was actually really fun. It was really scary at the beginning, but I just knew if I could survive turn 1 that I'd have a chance to finish in the top 10 somewhere, so luckily just everybody retired after I passed them, so yeah, it's all good.
Well, that is a very, very good race from you and everyone here as we are getting ready to go back racing in Japan next week.
Is it alright if I break in for a second here?
Of course.
I'd like to say thanks to some people that gave me some setup help for this track. It definitely made the difference tonight. I'm not going to say who did it, but
Raven?
you know who you are. Thank you for the setup help. That pretty much it gave me a chance tonight, so I want to personally thank them.
Is it Alan?
Can I? Yeah, I'd also, if it's okay, I'd like to give a shout out as well.
Do it.
Okay, I'd like to thank Ocean Chief and Speedy for the support and some practice that I got earlier today from my own league, SLR. Thanks to all you guys for the practice. I needed it, obviously, today, so yeah, thanks.
Well, practice certainly paid off for you right there. Certainly paid off for everyone here. Ninja, anything you want to say before we go to Japan?
Just one of those crazy races that you'd expect from a street circuit. I think well done to everyone. We did see quite a few retirements, which I'm sure will be addressed later on. And hopefully everybody's able to kind of clean up the act a little bit. Suzuka is going to be a tough one. It's definitely a driver's track, and it's surprising how many people don't like the track. It's just one of my favorites personally, but definitely going to require a bit of finesse to get around there and to make a pass stick. We'll see here in the next round next week.
All right, thank you, everybody. My name's Austin Knight, and I hope you guys enjoy the race and have a good night.